money activations are more about tapping into the heart space and looking from this place of at who we truly are, accessing our divine nature. And remember that it's just like you become conscious of that act, of the trigger, about how you feel, and you like say, okay, that's a very good moment to see. But you need to step into observer mode.
It's really about a frequency that anyone has the access to. How we go into that? Hello everyone and welcome to the Journey of Elevation podcast. I am Anna, your host, and today I have a very special guest, Diana Misail, who is a consciousness facilitator and empowering people to activate their own genius. She's also a transformational business healer, energy coach, and psychic. Welcome, Diana, to the space.
Hello, Anna. I'm very honored to be present with you tonight and have a heart-to-heart conversation.
Exactly. I'm also so excited because I feel like it was just the time to come here and share the energy with the people and your energy, your beautiful energy and your wisdom. And I'm very, very honored too.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm like looking forward for what will this create for us and for everyone else who will be watching in the future.
Exactly. So keep on watching. Amazing. So the first question I have for you, Diana, as the name of the podcast is The Journey of Elevation, and you also have your retreats, Joy of Elevation. What is the journey of elevation for you, and where do you feel you are in this moment in your journey?
Well, it's been a long journey of awakening and tapping into the true nature of what is possible. Joy of Elevation comes, it was transformed from Joy of Transformation to Joy of Elevation because I felt a new frequency coming into the field, into my life, into stepping into transforming something old into something different and new, and getting into activating new parts of our being as elevating into a new state of consciousness, not necessarily through using a transformative process, but mostly in remembering and activating a new part of our being, new qualities, new consciousness. So this is where it comes from as a name, Joy of Elevation. And I believe a lot of people, and me including, I was afraid of stepping into this process of elevating and bringing more of ourselves on. And joy, it can be done with joy, actually. If we can find that space first of joy and then go into tapping in more of who we are.
Amazing. And when was the time when you started to tap into the journey of elevation? Because you said that it was a time where you were also afraid, as many of us are at the level. When was for you that moment when you shifted?
I think I'm on a continuous shift every single day, starting with the question, who can I be today? And how can I contribute to this world? And how can I experience this world in a joyful way? But through time, if looking backwards, there were few moments of awakening that just knocked at the door of my soul, calling into for more. And one of the most important, when I actually started to facilitate also consciousness, was 5 years ago, when I was in a position of having a very successful business, having a very successful relationship, where everything was perfect from outside, and the only thing missing was me, and this is what I was looking for the freedom of being me, and for the freedom of finding joy and freedom in everything I'm doing. So that moment when I realized that there was no me, was only programs and expectations from myself, of my expectation and other people's expectation on how I should be, what I should do, and what I should create, and in which way, and keeping all these standards, mental standards, on board was the moment when I got in kind of a burnout, emotional burnout or self-burnout, how we call it today, that made me stop and reactualize everything about my values, about what I truly desire to create, what's the true place I'd love to live this life from.
And from there, what was the next step? Because I like in this journey, it's like it's so much to leave behind, and when you shift, it's like your life changes completely. And from what I hear and what I know,
Exactly, it was a process that came with a lot of challenges, but in the same time was amazingly beautiful. I would not change anything from it. So it came with a lot of stepping into the unknown, stepping into living without planning the next days, jumping into situations that I would have fear about, and it became all about stepping into my power, into experiencing and containing more love. Like, for example, traveling alone abroad was something that I feared a lot, or being in solitude was something that was frightening for me. Building my own business, not in partnerships, was one of the fears that I had to alchemize and step into that power. And so many things that I had to just look and acknowledge and just own and assume and stop resisting it. And it was a wonderful journey that also came with traveling many places and meeting new people, meeting different consciousness facilitators, and allowing and trying different things that I would be afraid to in the beginning, that actually created big shifts for me. And a lot of joy. It brought a lot of inner peace, a lot of alignment, inner alignment, and God self activation, how I love to call it.
Amazing.
My connection with our divine nature.
You mentioned two things that I want to go deeper into, and that is alchemy and how you alchemize your fears and your resistance. And I think these are two main things that stop people usually from being their true self and achieving their true potential. I want, if you can, to go deeper on this, on how you can and the listeners can do the alchemy on their fears and their resistance on taking that shift and that leap.
Well, the process of alchemy, it's pretty simple, but it's not very comfortable in the beginning because of our mind and our beliefs. And I'm very happy to use different techniques and tools and energy work and a lot of different modalities to change our beliefs. But I believe, my personal belief, is the best alchemy, but best shifts that we can do and create the most, get to the most free energy that we can get is through alchemizing through action. Like stepping into those places through action. Making a list of what you're fearing the most.
Okay.
And having the courage, activating your courage to trust yourself into the process and allow yourself to be modeled by the process. And having confidence and total trust in your higher self and being guided by your intuition into the process. Because it's always about the process, because only through the process you can access the truth of you.
Okay, and there comes the resistance because you might be like, I want to do alchemy, and I would love to do and to have the courage and to have the dream reality here. But there's a resistance to your potential and to your truth and all the programs that we have that are just standing there so hard to just keep us safe. How do we get through that resistance of our calling?
Well, resistance is a big subject because it's the only thing that keeps us
Small.
and keeps us away from actually what we truly desire and what we came here from. When we learn to deal with the resistance and we understand that it's just a mechanism of protecting the old programming, then we can deal with it with more ease. So personally, I see resistance as just a sign that we have a program that doesn't let us to step beyond.
Okay.
So when you realize, you don't give it so much power anymore. So the energy shifts and the space opens for a new action, for a new way of being, for a new way of responding to things, and for a new space, inner space, to go and act on it. So it's more about a conscious choice first, and then allowing through the conscious choice, through the understanding, from the discernment of what it truly is, to go into a different action. So,
okay. And about the programs, for example, we may think that we are doing the alchemy, but the programs are still there, and the energetical imprint on the actions and what our being may still stop from going through it. What are some tools or some ways that we can use in order to clear that energy and make space for the new?
There's so many ways to do it, but first, one tool that I'm using always is questioning. Okay. Always questioning the truth, questioning the data, questioning what is available, and always trying to discern what is coming from programming, from the human programming, and what's coming truly from our intuition, from our guidance, and from our divine nature. So questions like, if I would continue to do this, what would I create in 5 years from now? If I would step in a new choice, if I would choose something different, how would my life look in 1 year, 2 years from now? Who would I be if I choose this? So always setting and putting yourself from a place of curiosity, of what's available for you. Who would you be if you try something different?
Okay.
So this helps, most available tool for everyone. So you don't have to go and meditate. You don't have to separate yourself from your normal life. I think healing happens during life, during daily life, because we have to face different situations, and those situations and interactions with people are the most healing experience we can have if we are conscious about what's going on and we become self-aware about our thoughts, our emotions, our choices, and then we have the tools to either respond in a different way, either react, either just make a different choice.
Okay. So it's about choice. It's always about choice.
It's always about choice, and I think people misunderstand what choice is. I even had a conversation today with one of my friends about that was in a container of coaching with me 2 years ago, and she was like, "I'm just understanding now what you meant about choice."
So you planted the seed, and after 2 years,
yes,
it made sense.
Sometimes only the experience can allow you to literally understand for true what someone means.
Yes.
Because we can read so many books, we can listen to so many courses, but the true experience can be the only breaker of those walls that we've put around us in order to experience what we actually hear and learn and start embodying it. So choice is an inner state. First of all, it's a decision, it's an inner place, I would say, that it's kind of a GPS that gives the direction of choosing a timeline you want to manifest yourself on.
Okay.
And
Amazing.
that choice opens a new reality for you, even if you didn't. It's not about choosing between one object and another object. It's about choosing what you want to experience in alignment with what you truly want, with what you truly here for, like in alignment with your joy, in alignment with your peace, in alignment with experiencing the most amazing life experience can be. And you can put it in your business, you can put it in as a way of creating your relationships, you can apply it to any area of your life. So it's more about that inner choice that we do from that place where we are very, very honest with ourselves and recognizing our divine nature first and our limitless potential first. And then we have an inner choice that creates a movement and energy and creates a desire to act in a specific way.
Okay. So it's about creation, like the choice of creation. And you have one of saying regarding the choice that actually everything that we have now in our life, it's been a choice that we created and an energy that we brought, maybe subconsciously. So how do we uncreate some parts that we may become aware of that we are responsible for it, and choose differently, but how can we uncreate and like the process,
acknowledging that you are not the victim of your choice.
Okay.
So many people are like, oh, I've chosen this and this is how it went with my business, but when you remember that from the present moment you can choose anything and you have place to choose, be someone different, respond in a different way, that's when the field opens different possibilities. Okay, and when you have this awareness, then you step into a creation consciousness rather than victim consciousness. Okay, because from a victim consciousness you're like, oh, this choice has power over me, this choice have taken me here, this choice, like you get into this frustration, guilt, and all these shadows that start looping, and you start identifying more of your shadow part rather than your ability to create, even shadow. Okay, so when you start having a more easy approach to what creation means, then a bigger space for choice becomes available for you. So then, okay, if I've chosen to create some things that are not really comfortable with who I am, with my divine nature, with my potential of creating, I don't know how much money would benefit me in this life, the business, the relationships, anything that you truly desire, your life experience, your lifestyle, your legacy that you want to live here. Anything starts with an inner choice and devotion towards this process. So and the process of uncreation, first it's acknowledging that you are the creator and the one that have chosen it, and as you have chosen it, you have the ability to choose something different.
And how do we tap into the energy now of creating from a place of ease? Because sometimes we can acknowledge, okay, that we are here and maybe we're not satisfied with the current reality and we want more from us, and there comes like a bit of frustration that still keeps us in the loop of like the same story, because it's frustration that can only create more frustration, for example. But how can we tap into that ease energy when we just know that everything that we desire is already happened?
Well, me personally, I'm centering myself into the present moment, into my body, and remember the divine nature of everyone, the divine nature of how things work. And I remember those times and things when I could shift things just by thinking differently, feeling different, perceiving differently, connecting to the energies I would love to experience, more connecting to the green flags than the red flags of what we should do, creating more into what would be possible, creating, connecting to maybe other people experiences and admiring and looking how would that be possible also for me. So always coming back into remembrance would be the first step, and acknowledging that I'm being in a shadow position when looking at those things. And then tapping into the body and doing maybe different techniques of releasing emotions, releasing, clearing patterns of energy information through some body work, so somatic work, maybe movement, maybe breath work, maybe depending on the situation.
Okay.
And then the most important is not only the releasing part, but it's tapping into the frequency you desire to experience. Like if you desire to experience more ease, do something that creates more ease for you. Like if you love to walk and to run or to dance, and it creates this sensation of ease, tap into that energy and then bring it where you feel more heavy energy. So you just recalibrate it and bring a different frequency, because everything it's a frequency. Hard and struggle, it's a frequency, it's an energy. So you can work 24 hours per day and be in ease, or you can work 24 hours per day and be in struggle. So it's about that frequency that we consciously bring in, and everyone has his own portals to access it through different activities and experiences he had during his life, her life.
Amazing. And regarding the process, I think it's important to also talk about when we want to step into our true being, there are going to be some tests, right? Because nothing can, like, there, to get to the next level, we need to be in a position where we shift and we get through the test.
Yes, only if we have this program.
Okay, so it's a program too.
The collective consciousness goes through this process, but it can be just choice.
If you have, for example, a desire to create more, for example, or more money, or a business, or clients, or anything like that, or just to shift the energy from something that you used to be to something new that you want to have. From what I experience, usually there's something that is given where you have to choose differently, right? Yeah. So in that test, in that moment, you can just say, okay, I don't want test anymore. I just want to be ease and my path to be.
But you can have the test with ease. This is what people would be nice to get. It's not about that the tests are something hard. It's about the distance between the test and your acknowledgement that that's the test, and you have the power to just shift the energy and step into a different reality right away.
Sounds so simple when you say it.
It becomes simple when you do it, when you actually do it on a daily basis, like when you get triggered. The tests are those moments and situations that come to test us if we passed the lesson, right? If we changed our consciousness, if we changed our energy towards that thing. And those moments are the best moments for alchemy. Those moments are the best moments to work on yourself. It's not the work on yourself when you go to meditate and look to the programs on your subconscious mind, but our subconscious programming is manifested daily in our life, in all the situations. So you can become present and an observer, a conscious observer, even when you go and pay for some services, and you see how you react when you spend money, and you become present with your inner feelings, with your perception about money. That's a very good moment to do the alchemy. If you don't feel ease, joy, it's the best moment to look at your programming and what you feel and how you feel it in the moment that's happening. And when you become present with what's happening in the moment, and remember that it's just like you become conscious of that act, of the trigger, of about how you feel, and you like say, okay, that's a very good moment to see, but you need to step into observer mode. And while acting on it, you can stop and just do the alchemy, looking at the truth of what it is. If you feel like it's heavy, you feel like you see what's coming up in the moment. Let's take the example of paying something, and you feel the lack of if I spend this money, I will not have any more, I will not be able to create anymore, whatever comes up. And then you dig into with questions to see what's the truth there of programming truth that's blocking that. And then you stay with that energy and you clear it, you transform it, you bring a new truth into it, and then you pay with joy, with from a place, not a place of lack, but from a place of understanding that you have limitless availability to things as an energetical being first, because everything first happens on an energy level and then it becomes physical. So in that moment, if you become aware, you become conscious, you step into that observer mode, you do that alchemy, then magic happens, and you may use that energy for manifesting it. Like you can attract new opportunities, new ideas, even money coming in, because you became present with a lie that you've been telling yourself and maybe not being conscious about it so many years. So I believe the best process is during
the actual act and action and trigger, or just life experience.
So I would shorten it. It's just like become present with all your emotions, with all your thoughts. Well, maybe not all, but at least the most that are triggering you, that you perceive as tests. Okay, that you perceive as something bigger than you. Because when you recognize that's a trigger, that actually wants to bring your attention that you've let some power there that you want to recover and own it, rather than give it having power over you.
Yeah. Lovely. And what about patterns that keep coming back? Like, you know that you've healed something, for example, and you had like an experience or just a period where you were acting and being in a certain way, and then that pattern keeps showing up even years after, even if you did the healing. What do you do then? Like, how do you approach this type of alchemy and healing in that specific way?
That can be done in different ways. The most powerful way for me was through reinforcing a new choice. If you did the clearings, and always remember to uncreate, like with intention, uncreate that energy. Like dissolving that energy from your field, sending it back to the past, sending it back to its original creator, because many times we are bringing a lot of stuff from the collective or from our parents or from our other people that we love and we become loyal to, and we borrow those patterns and not even ours and become our truth. So when we realize this and we start sending it back, we start uncreating continuously and reinforcing through new choice, not only through our mental infusion or clearing it from our bodies. We can clear the energy of it from our bodies through different techniques. But I think still the most important thing is reinforcing it through new choices, reinforcing a new choice. You can do it with, like if it's a pattern regarding relationships, it can be that shows up in relationships. Then you can acknowledge it and ask for help, and ask even for people to hold the space for you to uncreate and have a new choice. I don't know, maybe it's something that you continuously do in a relationship that it's not honoring you and it's not honoring the other person. And then if you acknowledge it and you see that's like an automation, an automatic response to something, I don't know, maybe you are jealous or whatever it can be, then you just recognize honestly that this is what you feel and how you feel about it, and ask the other person every time that it would trigger you to be able and open for a discussion, so you can bring it up and the other person have the understanding that it's just a pattern that you want to change, if it's not something that is like truly important. So the other can just hold the space for your transformation and reinforce a new way of responding to it, if you cannot do it alone. So in a relationship, sometimes we can do better healing than we are doing it alone.
I love that.
Makes sense?
Yeah, sure. I love it. I would love to go more into the subject of money and wealth, as you are an expert on it. As you have like the quantum wealth activation program, where you taught so many students already how to tap into that frequency and energy, and you've like created so much results, like in terms of money, but it's not only about money. It's about life in general. So it's really about a frequency that anyone has the access to. How we go into that?
So thank you for the introduction. It's actually not about creating money.
Yeah.
It's about shifting the consciousness about money that create a different results in monetizing your truth. Monetizing and bringing money results, because money are just an energy that's manifested through our work and through different channels of our creations. So I'm teaching more about how it works in the quantum field and how we can access different realities about money, and holding that space of transformation, of accessing spaces beyond our thinking, beyond our feeling, and tapping into possibilities rather than lack of possibilities. So everything vibrates, and we know that, and everything has a frequency and everything. But in order to tap into that clean frequency, sometimes we need to clear some shadows around.
And sometimes we carry like generational and like so many years of programs. And how do we leave them, drop them, and tap into that?
The easiest way is just to decide to expand our consciousness and to choose every 10 seconds to function from there. It requires presence. And it requires like conscious choice every single 10 seconds, I would say. That's the fastest way. It's uncomfortable at the beginning, but then it can become automation when we choose that space rather than choosing the automatical programming from the past. I do both. I love to work with the subconscious that's coming from our past, but I love more to activate the supraconscious mind and being, because it has more to offer. It has more like we're tapping into possibilities rather than focusing our energy only into the past. We use the energy of the old programming for manifestation. We can do that, but the most effective one coming with is not the old programming, but it's what's available, but we are not looking at it.
Okay. And how we can access the quantum field in order to create from there and not from back?
Quantum field, it's available for everyone. We just have to become the observers.
What is the quantum field actually? Where is it?
It's all around us. It's just a space. It's just a place of being, a place of functioning. It's called quantum in science world, but in the spiritual world, it's called spirit. Mm-hmm. And actually, the energy of spirit, what holds everything together. So when we acknowledge that and we tap into it, then we have access to different realities than what people just living in their mind have access to. So we access the quantum field through centering ourselves in our heart space. And when I say heart space, I don't mean the heart chakra. I mean this connection between our soul, our body, being, and our mind. Mm-hmm. So if I would connect myself to consciously, I would get into this space of quantum field. It's more getting into this present moment with myself, with just being, out of programming, out of feeling, out of thinking, just tapping into, like with my intention, connecting my mind, my heart, and my belly, okay, which represent the heart space for me. So the wholeness
the union,
of the union. And first you'll do it mentally, but then you just draw your attention into your body and stay more present into your body. You can use breath to get out of thinking. You can use, for example, for me also dancing takes me out of overthinking and thinking and just being. For someone praying, for someone can be, but depending on the practice you do, for me just connecting, maybe closing my eyes, connecting into the heart space, and as more relaxing into my body. Mm-hmm. So that gives me access to that space of now, where everything exists in the same instant. And you literally can perceive those possibilities. And when you're there, things are attracted to you. You don't have to chase things. Mm-hmm. So
I love that you said like the heart space and how you opened that, because when we first met, I was in a position in my life where I was having my heart blocked, but the heart is actually connected to everything else. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and we were at the ecstatic dance event together, so it's regarding dance, and I was really looking for, I really want to open my heart, what to do it, how can I do it, but I was having this question for a long time already. And then you appeared and you put your hand on my heart, and then I literally, like, I felt like something was clearing around my chest, and then just started dancing and opening and expanding.
I remember that moment that you were a totally different person.
Yeah, and just acknowledging that that was first the first interaction, and also very beautiful. It was like the heart and the dancing, and now we're here. I'm having a moment of gratitude and acknowledgement. And
I'm so grateful for you too. I remember that moment.
So thank you for being.
Thank you for receiving.
So important, like the receiving part, right? Like we can just have like also regarding like the money and everything in our life, right? How is actually the heart connected to everything that we are open enough to receive, or we are not. So maybe we can.
It's a different place of functioning. it's when you tap into your heart. It's the possibility to tap into the union between everything. In that union where you can feel safe and you can trust that divine union. For me, heart space is the most safe place to be. So when I'm in fear, I know that I'm in my mind. I know I'm in my shadows. I know I'm in my mind. So if I get to acknowledge that and not start fighting with those shadows, I just remember to just drop into my heart. Just drop into the heart. That's the safest place to be.
Yeah. And it's really, maybe also like the listeners can do this like right now, to just take a moment and just drop into the heart.
We can breathe in and just with intention drop from our mind to our heart. And from here, from this place, we just can expand your consciousness, the consciousness of your heart. You can just like tap into a Tor field, it's called, like apple around your body that circulates this energy from your heart center. And you can expand it. And you don't have to do too much. You just allow this energy to work for itself, for you. And from here, your whole body relaxes. You don't fight anymore. You're just like being.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Such a shift.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
In just 30 seconds.
Instantly. And then when you become an observer of your daily, just when you, I don't know, you do anything on your computer or whatever work you do, when you remember and just like drop from that tension, from that place of always trying to fix things, do create from our mind, just drop into our heart and tap into this different frequency where things come with ease. And everything that happens can be lived with ease and not made such a big deal. Because when we make something important, this is when that thing is like having our attention, have power over us. But when we are just like relaxing and look for possibilities, that any fear disappears.
And it's always accessible.
Yes, and this is where ease comes from.
Yeah.
Because when we are in ease, actually we're functioning from that heart space without acknowledging it, like naturally, like when we were kids. Always, kids are in the heart space always.
And the money, and the wealth, and everything, the relationships.
Everything, yes, exactly. So the quantum wealth and money activations are more about tapping into the heart space and looking from this place of at who we truly are, accessing our divine nature and clearing blockages, energetical blockages, beliefs around money and around everything, because money are connected with everything. So depending in the process what shows up in everyone's life, and usually I direct it about creating a business, because during the process a lot of shadow comes up, so we have the possibility to clear it and change the beliefs on the spot. And then tapping into these new frequencies from these places, and these new places, new frequency activate possibilities, money and clients and everything we actually desire to have in our lives. And it's not about chasing, but it's about more aligning ourselves to who we truly are. And this is my mission in life. It's bringing and being an invitation for people to create money, business, relationship from a true place of being, of acknowledging who they are and who they want to be, and play with the identities just to fulfill this human experience also, but not being led or overwhelmed by the human programming. Just more of tapping into who they truly are, and from this place creating money that they can enjoy, not the opposite, where money are leading their life, their fears, and they're more about having that patience and having, before creating anything, having that patience to align yourself first and then go into the journey of your creation.
Amazing. That like it's simple and easy
But it's a process.
but it's a process, right?
We still live in this linear time, so
Yeah.
we can access through the quantum field the other dimensions of time, where we don't have to do A, B, C, D. We can like jump steps, but we still live in this linear time that requires a process.
And you said that you are leading people to who they are, right? So how do we activate and what's actually what we are, and the activation and the remembrance and everything? Like we talk about it, but like I want also for the listeners to go into that acknowledgement that we can always tap into.
For me, is the remembrance of being an infinite being, and being consciousness itself expressing through our body, through our life experience, and manifesting ourselves more as consciousness, energy, space, and choice than thoughts, emotions, and old programming. And remembering that we can tap in all these identities and play with these identities, but not being owned by these identities, but being more in a role plays, conscious role plays that we want to experience. And tapping into this allowance for everything, allowance and choice for what we want to experience, for choice for what we want to express into the world. Because I believe consciousness itself just wants to experience itself for us. So we just choose these roles of expression. Consciousness that doesn't care actually what is our process. It just has allowance for everything we choose. It's about us, what we want to experience and how we want to. And as we expand our consciousness, we have more allowance for it, and then we can start playing the creator role and actually being more responsible for it. Stepping, but not from a serious perspective, but like when you wake up and acknowledging, like truly getting into that place, knowing that the consciousness wants to experience life through you. And if you become present, how would you love to experience your day if you would know that? What choices would you make? How would you respond to life? And that's the place we get through all this process, understanding who we are, and then start owning it, and then start creating from this place of empowerment, of
Joy,
of love, of remembrance, and of course the foundation is always love.
love. I love that you express it in such a beautiful and unique way, like who we are. So it's really about like the consciousness that wants to experience like through us, and it's also like the choice of how we want. And actually, like in this process of healing and transformation and just wanting so much from ourselves, there's this. I think it's like a struggle energy, but we actually can always tap into the fun way and joyful way and make it this process to be just pleasurable, right?
Yes, it's a practice because we've been conditioned so much to take it for struggle.
And you hear it everywhere, right? Like it's hard. Like you learn through like the hard stuff and everything, like the programs and the family.
And it's just the energy we imprint with our thoughts and emotion into it. And sometimes it can come from inside of us, because this is what has been conditioned into our bodies, because our body also is part of our subconscious mind. So we can feel it in our bodies. But as we can feel it, we can clear it.
Mm-hmm.
Like as it was imprinted, it can be cleared by just the intention and truly presence with our body, and bringing a new energy into our body.
Mm-hmm. And with the choice. Always a choice. Love it. And also, like regarding the subject, what about the divine matrix, right? Because it's something that you usually like talk about, and you use it in your retreats. And how can we tap into our divine like matrix and God-like frequency into that? And how can people discover their actually path in life and soul calling, just being aware of what's there?
Well, for me, the divine matrix, it's that our divine blueprint become as souls before our soul incarnates in the body and takes over all this collective consciousness and our parents' programming. This space of infinite and limitless potential that comes to experience a human experience, and it takes over all the programming, good, bad, all the duality programming, but it has also its own pure blueprint that contains a lot of gifts. It contains who we truly are. And our divine nature is knowing. Now, being able to have access to any information anytime we desire, and just create from that place. We forgot because of the human conditioning. Okay, for me, our divine matrix holds all our gifts as a being. Depends on us what we want to remember and activate and use in this lifetime, and is different for every soul. It's true we have access to all, but depends on our mission and our life, what we've chosen to experience. We have access to different gifts that we could use in order to express our love, to express our being, to express us as humans. And that for me can be like tapping into this potentiality of being and functioning from this divine nature as being very connected to our body, and allowing the consciousness, our body, to express itself as it wants. Connecting ourselves to our gifts, intuitive gifts, vision gifts, clear vision, telepathy, all these psychic abilities, different spectrum of love that we can experience. The matrix is very wide of who we can be, depending on each individual that wants to tap into. I usually love to activate all these gifts in the retreats that I'm holding, because we are accessing this heart space where everyone gets activated in their true potential. And some people activate their abilities to read information, to tap into like reading maybe your physical condition, reading, activating their intuitive vision, activating the possibility to change the information of anything, like programming different objects, not only from the mental field, but actually accessing it from the energetic field, which what's the difference between mental and energetical? It's faster process. It's manifesting in material world faster.
So in your retreats, magic happens, and people become superhumans. This is how it sounds, right?
It's more remembering who they truly are, and this is not about like oh, I can do this and activating the ego part. It's more like, oh, this is also available, and how can I use this to create more aware, more beautiful things in the world, and like accessing, oh, this is actually possible. If this is possible, how can I bring this place, this joy, this ease into everything that I'm creating? It's like more about showing people and allowing them to tap into more of who they are.
And why do they keep coming back? What is actually happening? Like, people come, and it's a space that you provide. Why do they come back so, like?
Because it's a space we actually work all together and co-create together in the quantum field. It's not only about the activation.
It's a playground. So
it's a playground for creating in the quantum field through different practices that actually creates these light structures, as I call them, for manifestation, for people being able to choose more consciously in their life and manifest through ease. So we are doing it through different practices like spontaneous dance, bending spoons, and creating a lot of joy and frequency and complexity in our embodiment. Like when a group interacts, everyone has his own gifts, everyone has his own qualities, and what's happening into that space, it's happening a transfer of qualities. We activate different parts of light that we might need for our manifestation, that we don't have it active but someone else have it. So in that interaction and that field being held, it's happening this complexity activation on all fields: mental, emotional, energetical, etherical. So it has a base for the manifestation that are coming after for everyone that's joining. So it's just a conscious creation in the quantum field.
And you provide the space for it. Where people like...
Well, everyone like co-creates it.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. So like everything that we've talked about now, it's a practical there. You get to experience everything, and like also in this collective energy is so powerful that
Yes.
and this connection with the gifts that you can take and have, like, realize that we are all one, actually, right?
Yes, we are connected to the divine matrix, first of all. So what we are doing there, connecting our higher selves, connecting to our higher selves and tapping into this divine matrix that it's available. And we do it through the heart space. And of course, that can be like spontaneous releases, like catharsis happening, which is very good because that's also a lot of blocked energy that can come out. But my focus is more on activating supraconscious abilities and on manifestation. But of course, we don't ignore the subconscious programming. We are working through it through different practices too.
Okay.
So different releases can happen through an acknowledgement, a lot of awareness can happen, and a lot of awareness about the limitation, and a lot of awareness about the potential that people are holding. And this creates a mix of their own experience.
Magical. Is there something that people listening can maybe do before to tap into that frequency and energy of creation and releasing and just embodying more of that frequency?
Well, a few things that would help for the field to be more clear and have the process for me and for everyone being with more ease is maybe to fast.
Okay.
For a few days before, maybe with just water fasting, maybe just excluding some heavy foods like meat or fish, whatever, even cheese, like trying to have a more healthy diet, like getting into more fruits and vegetables and raising the frequency. Drinking a lot of water. Mm-hmm. And have very clear intentions for what they truly would love to bring in there, for what they truly would love to bring into creation in the next period of time. So coming with their own gifts, but in the same time with their own requests for what they would love to manifest, to create. And then the field arranges itself in a way that will benefit every participant, but it might take them into a process afterwards of alignment, of course. But they have all the group support, my support, and all the tools that they need to go through it.
And what are the some transformations that usually happen after the retreats, in the retreats? But I think it's more after the space, and that the space still continues, and it creates and uncreates.
Mm-hmm. Well, so much.
I really wanted the listeners to hear.
People coming back as a feedback is more as like who they are being through their life process. Mm-hmm. That's the basic thing that is changing, and they are accessing this place of ease and joy going through life, experiencing a different way of being, with more joy, with more ease, being able to uncreate things that they don't require anymore, and being able to tap into their manifestation power with more ease. Mm-hmm. And the testimonials are so different depending on what people desire and choose to come. There are people that could not or not be able to have kids, and they could manifest that afterwards, choosing to not choose addictions anymore, like adopting a more aligned lifestyle, making choices that are in alignment with their heart with more ease, I would say. That creates so much change in terms of results. Some can start a new business, new relationships, more aligned ones, get out of toxic interactions with ease, like totally naturally, or recalibrating their relationship, having more desire for intimacy, like getting healing abilities, activating their gifts, their psychic gifts, and using them in their jobs, having amazing money manifestations, and aligning with bringing in big projects, bringing in big clients, new clients that can, like, so many different things that are happening in that field, depending on the requests and the intention that everyone comes with in the field.
Mm-hmm. So really, it's just if you want to change your life or work and completely shift your reality, and you are also responsible and cautious that
if you choose to use the tools. Yeah. But it's more like a playground where I invite people to tap into this field of ease, and just like reuniting in this powerful groups where we can consciously choose to play, because this is the space we are functioning there. It's a lot of play, which this is the place we are truly creating with is.
And also regarding the play and the manifestation, I know that one tool you use is conscious movement, where you use conscious movement for manifestation. And I'm curious, how does that work for the people in the retreat? And also, I think it's a tool that people can also use and tap into maybe in their home.
Of course.
That we can actually have that. That's a very easy way to manifest as a tool.
Well, I'm using dancing in the retreat as a tool of quantum modeling, how I call it. It's like we can model realities in the quantum field before it happens, and we can perceive how it will manifest, because what is in our best interest is it's how we feel in the process. So I'm using dance as a tool of seeing how someone manifests through life, and I can see the patterns. Well, when you see someone dancing, you can see his blockages, you can see what qualities he needs, you can see a lot of things when you see someone manifesting. So for me, it's easier to tap into the energy field and bring new frequencies for the person to start creating that reality he wants to experience according to his desire, with more joy, with more peace, with more love. So
how can we use conscious movement for manifestation?
So this is what I want to get. It's first, you take yourself into a spontaneous dance. Like you allow your soul to move your body and feel how it feels for you. But before you start dancing, you put yourself into an intention as creating a model for the reality. I don't know, you want to create a business with phones, I don't know, for example. And you take yourself with the intention of how would you live the life of creating this business. And you take yourself into modeling this reality into dancing. And you become present with how it feels for you. Okay, and if it feels joyful, and if it feels loving, and if it feels fulfilling, then this is something that you want to keep and manifest. If it's not, you just uncreate it with your intention from the field.
And it's an energy you perceive when you dance, and how you feel when having that business.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
But it's not about the business itself. It's about the process of being in that business. It's not, because 99% of the people don't enjoy the process of creating the wealth.
The journey.
Yeah, but our purpose is to enjoy the journey, actually. So what we are doing there is just like a combination of creating, modeling realities by looking at what's the best version for you and how you want to live that experience. And kind of constellations, where I look first in your movement, where are the patterns that are keeping you stuck, and we clear them, and then we get into a new manifestation of a new reality and how you want to experience the new process, no matter what your intention is.
So what people can do home is to
as an exercise, you can model through dance, you can model from anything. I think I even made a post about it. You can like tap into how something would feel, how something would benefit you from modeling in any way. You can put 3 glasses of water or tea or whatever you would enjoy, and put the intention of, on this glass, I'm like want to feel how is to experience doing taking this way, doing business with clothes, for example. That it's something that it's aligned with your heart and it's coming from. So you just go into your heart space, connect with yourself, connect with that model, and you just allow yourself to perceive the energy. And then choose which one contains more love, contains more joy, contains more peace, contains more ease, and go with that one. So it's also an exercise of perceiving, and also an exercise of choice. choosing always to get onto your best path is the where you contain the most love, you contain the most joy, most ease. That's our natural being. This is who we are.
So it's more like an exercise for choosing the path that you want to go, right?
Yes, this one is like perceiving how you want it to be, and then you can, after you've chosen, you can bring in how would love it to manifest.
So you continue the dance.
You can go with the dance, or you can just bring that feeling into the water you're drinking.
Okay. Because I see it like as a process of first you choose and see like what's the best choice for you,
would be
and then like the second part of actually
if
manifesting.
You're doing it alone, yes.
This can also be in the process, like coming with an intention that you want to experience that energy, and then to take that energy into everyday life.
Yes, can be too, but it's depending on the intention. It's depending on the intention.
What's depending?
Like if you want to bring an energy into what you are already doing, you can code, you can bring the ease into your water and bring it in your body. So you just bring that frequency into you. Or you can perceive what's the timeline that you want to choose, what it contains, and choose from there on.
What if you want to create more money, for example, in your life, and you want to manifest a new job or a vacation or something that you've been dreaming? What's like the tool that you can practice that can take you there and keep the energy there?
So what we want, where we want to get, it's not making and using techniques, but more tapping into this energy and embodying this energy. All these techniques are for just tapping into embodying who we truly are. And money and jobs and alignment comes from our inner joy and our inner peace and our inner knowing that this is what I truly want. So that frequency activates the money, activate the opportunity, you become magnetic. So
the question is how you become magnetic.
Okay, so this is actually what we are looking forward. Not the technique itself, but we looking forward to activate that feeling of being magnetic, being aligned, being very good with ourselves. So when we go into dancing, what we want is to tap into that frequency where we feel good. With the intention of this creating the money and trusting the process of where it will come from. You can have a business and you can put the intention for it to come from your business through soul clients, aligned clients with ease and having sales and modeling it into the field. Or you can just tap into joy and allow it to come from wherever it wants to come. Depending again on your intention. So it becomes like first it's a practice and then it becomes a natural way of being. So you know how to tap into that frequency, and when you tap into that frequency, you activate different opportunities around you that start approaching you more than you chasing things outside of you.
So if you would summarize magnetism, what would that be actually?
You being in your true potential, feeling absolutely amazing about who you are, no matter what other people around you think, and just tapping into that power of being. Because everyone wants to be joyful, everyone wants to be full of life, everyone wants to be in this excitement and want to be embodied in this frequency. So this becomes magnetic, and what people actually want and everything it's built on, it's energy. And as more love it contains, as more joy it contains, as more authenticity of who someone is, activating this desire in others actually to access the same thing in themselves. And this is very magnetic and is very contributive to others, to you and to others. But you feel that like you don't do nothing. So this is how we get to that space. Like I didn't do anything. I was just me, and things were just happening. Because when you're in that space, things are just happening. But before you get to that space, there's some work we need to do.
Because it's that me can have like every day a new level, right?
Yes.
That true self that wants to come out and wants to just be, but there may be like the limitations that we put on, and after we just clear that, we get into the magnetism. And like regarding the magnetism, how can we maintain that energy for a longer period of time? Because of course there's like day-to-day life where we encounter like jobs, people, like experiences that can take us out of the magnetism energy, and then maybe we fear, oh my god, we are not in the magnetism, I'm maybe in shadow, and now I'm not manifesting, and then you feel bad about yourself that you are out of the magnetism. Because this can happen like so often. We love to be in our joy, in our power, in our like true being, but there's also like the dark part, right, that can appear. How can we integrate and just see it as part of the process?
But there's the ego part that's afraid.
Okay.
Because the being knows that it's always there. And it always can tap into it, no matter what. It could be a different version of magnetism. It can be a different version of magnetism. When we put these questions to ourselves, we get into being afraid of losing something. We step into the shadow of it because we want to maintain something that is.
Okay.
It just is. So it's only when we forget, what we need is just to remember.
Taking a moment of silence for this. So it's whenever we
are getting it out from our monkey mind.
Yeah. Whenever we feel like we are out of magnetism, for example, and we feel that like we're in lack, and
magnetism is a natural state of being. It's not something you have to do. It's not something that you try to prove, or you try to being validated for, or you're trying to do in order to get some results. Then it cuts off all the magnetism.
But it's also like regarding the magnetism, or just feeling
magnetism
good
is just
in general.
You're acknowledging that this is magnetic. When you're being you become magnetic. When you're being receiving, you're being in receiving and not fighting and not in resisting, you become very magnetic. Like universe wants to offer, everything wants to come and serve you. Like it's a place of natural magnetism. You don't have to do things. But the process of doing is just by remembering that frequency that you are, and like tapping into who you truly are, where you feel the most in peace, in joy, in love, and you don't have to do anything there.
Yeah,
just being. Like for example, if you remember when you dance and you just lose all the conditioning, everything. It's like you just with the energy of who you are in that moment. And for you, it doesn't feel like you're doing something, or you want attention, or you want to be observed and noticed, and you just want to be and enjoy that energy. But for someone from outside, would be very magnetic when you be in that state. And it's not just for someone outside, it's for the whole universe, because it's interacting with you being in that space.
Yeah. I love it.
So it's more about being in that natural Yes.
But like regarding like the magnetism, I was also like I was asking what if and what do when you get maybe into the shadow parts, and we might feel like we are losing that part where we are not magnetic anymore, or we don't feel like we are magnetic, because they're like periods of time where you may feel like inspirational, or you may feel driven, and then you might have like periods where you're like lower energy maybe. How can we like alchemize that and don't judge and don't judge ourselves for just being in different states, and not put like maybe the magnetism on a pedestal, and then maybe other like the dark part somewhere where we don't want to see and we don't want to experience, because the more resistance we have around not feeling super magnetic, the more
The first step is receiving yourself in those states.
okay,
Like being able to receive yourself as with all the parts of who you are. Not
that
yes. Not accepting, like when we say I accept, it's like, oh, this is a done deal. But more about receiving it.
okay,
Like you receive
Yeah.
anything that exists in this world. And not maybe necessarily identifying yourself with it, but looking at it as an experience I'm going through now, as I would love to see how much I want to experience this.
yeah. I love the shift of accepting and receiving, because I think like in this world it's like you just have to accept. Just accept it, and it's like
It
okay,
has
how
kind of the same meaning,
yeah,
but the
it's
energy is different.
The energy,
Yes.
yeah. Like receive yourself in with all your parts. How is that for you? How what's the latest receiving that you've provided for yourself?
Well, in the last period of time, last years, I've been looking at also my dark places that I wouldn't receive in the past, and I would like suppress. And I would suppress my anger, I would suppress my sadness, I would suppress my grief, and I could not tap into them. And the work was to receive those with ease and acknowledge that are just experiences, and allow myself to feel them, allow myself to really tap into them and stay with them, get the messages, and choose something different.
So receiving both the light and the dark in the journey.
Yes,
And not resist.
and receiving, yeah, from a place of allowing it to be. And when you receive it from this place, it just shifts.
When you allow and you
It shifts in
create.
emptiness.
Yeah. And is there like a practice that you do that maybe like we can also practice on the receiving part, for example, on the both and the light and the dark?
Yes. So what I usually do, I tap into my heart space, and I invite that feeling with me into that place, and we have a conversation.
Have a conversation with the dark part.
How we call it dark, yeah. It's just that frequency and feeling and what exactly it wants for me to acknowledge, and what program it wants to show me, and what's the gift in it.
What's the gift in it? I love it.
And because for many years I would be just that love and light, and I would not look at the truth of what it is, and actually suppress a lot of intensity of my being. So yeah, lately it was more about acknowledging and receiving that intensity of myself, and how would manifest from me asking for what exactly I want, talking my truth to the persons with grace, of course, but allowing myself to express my truth in any situation, communicate clearly my feelings, communicate clearly my ones asking from others their needs and how can I serve, like being in a more responsible place about everything that it includes my life experience. Maybe taking some decisions about some situation that were not in my benefit anymore, and even it was intense dealing with them without looking for permission from outside for someone else to allow me to do that, or
So usually these are the answers.
dissolving that good girl pattern that were not allowing me to deal with some situations. So that was a part of integration the last years too. Nice. That actually brings a lot of power and a lot of self-love and self-acknowledgement.
So really that's like what you said is the answer of what's the gift in it, because on like behind that suppression that we put on things that we don't want to feel there's so much power and gift into that we can access only if we receive our whole being.
Yes, it is. And it's like more about acknowledging and how could I express that? It's more of it will open a new space for you of who you are. It's actually tapping into the true being of who you are, and that moment you realize, oh wow, it's part of who you are too.
What you've been resisting for so many years.
Yes,
that still keeps
appearing. Gives you so much flexibility in being. Gives you so much flexibility and authenticity in being. And
I feel in my body, like when you were saying, just a lot of expansion when you put it like this, just allowing. I love it. I would like to conclude this like awakening and enlightening and beautiful conversation with the tool that you love the most, and that is the miracle question, and that people can also like access and learn more about that. But I want you to give like just a little bit and like an example of the question and the way of how people can create with questions, and to have this as like the final practice.
So one of the tools that I love to use is the question that generates reality. There are different type of questions as a spectrum of tools, but one of the most favorite I have is the generating reality, a miraculous reality that I call miracle questions, as a tool of opening new possibilities in any situation that you are in. Just putting a question without looking necessarily for an answer, and allow that energy of the question to create for you a different possibility, a different reality, a different tool, a different awareness, a different idea. So just like a tool for manifestation. So yeah, for someone who wants to go deeper into it, I have created this miracle question course that you can find on my profile. And as a tool for what would you like to bring in as a manifestation, for example, Anna, that I would give you a question to use in order to tap into.
First thing would be like more money, definitely, and something related with music and dance, like to really like live up my calling in this world.
So you can use first of all releasing everything that's holding you not tapping into it.
Okay.
Like with your intention releasing all the tension, everything that's like separating you from it, and becoming space, becoming energy, becoming just consciousness. You can breathe in and out and just come into the present moment and expand. Mm-hmm. And then you feel that tension went down and your body relaxed. And you empty your mind, stay connected to your heart space, drop into your heart, into your belly, being present with your body, expand in all directions. Connect with the sky, with the earth, into your heart. And when you totally feel connected with yourself, with your being, you can ask what would be the most brilliant way I can bring my self-expression through dance, through conscious movement, through my artistic skills into a business that I can monetize with ease at the level of my desire. And you can put the intention of what would that be as a number. So what would be the most brilliant way to self-express and to express who I am by knowing through dance, through conscious movement, through my knowledge, in creating a business that will monetize at the level that will provide the X amount that would be comfortable and feel into it and see what's the energy of it. Call it in. Does it feel expanding? Do you still feel some tensions in your body that you want to release and just shake out with the intention in your body? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I felt a very powerful energy that I haven't felt so far in the beginning. When you said to connect with the sky, I saw myself like kind of like connected with the ground and the sky, and me in the middle, and like lots of power just going through, like coming through, and like that's actually the space to be and to ask from. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So just for the fact that I access that space, I understand more. But because it's very important from what space are you asking the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the music popped up. Music, yeah. Music, like, and combining music with speaking and dancing. Yeah, I love it.
Amazing. So activation is about your own experience of activating.
Mm-hmm.
that place. And that's why a lot of people, when coming into a retreat, for example, cannot put to it words, because it's more about their personal experience. And they love to experience every time a new one. Also for me, it's expanding, and I'm changing every time. Every retreat, I'm growing, and I just love holding those. So because of these experiences, people can tap into and create their lives from this place.
Of knowing and expansion.
Of course, words are too little to put into the places you can tap. But when you experience it, then you know it, and then it's yours. It's yours to benefit from and to function from.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this expansive conversation and conscious. And okay, words are not just the energy. The energy of this conversation feels ease and beautiful and elevating. And I know that also for the listeners too. So if you want to find more about this amazing being of light here on Earth, you can go to her page on Instagram, Diana Misail. And also you can find everything in the description of the video, and the access to the courses and the retreats. And definitely I invite you, and you are deeply welcomed to join the next retreats, right?
Yes. Usually have the announcements on Instagram, on Facebook, my page. So who is ready to tap into more expansion and master their energetic intelligence and tap into their own potentiality and what that means for them, for you, then you are invited to explore it with me, with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.